All right. Let's see how this works. Okay. Let's see how this works. All right, let's mute that. Cool. Oh man. All right, this looks fine. Uh-oh, Discord kicked me out. Oh no. All right, whatever. Oh, I don't need that. All right, let's get back into it. Mm-hmm. Okay. I gotta move my face a little bit here. That should be fine, right? Yeah, it should be fine off to the right here. All right, cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it only maybe covers the end turn over here and my draw pile. That's fine. Or sorry, my discard pile. Can't get there. Solar is good. So is Cloak. Yay. Mm-hmm. Gonna take a hit here. A lot of attack cards. That was wrong. Guess didn't matter. Crush Under is good. Prophesize. Not very good. Crush Under is fine. Am I even strong enough to take on an elite? Maybe. Maybe. Charge to get rid of some of the crap. Take a big hit. Let me quickly... How do I edit that? Yeah, whatever, it's fine. Fixed. Okay. Could have put this back in on top. Venerate was better there. We should get through this. Excadriller, yo, what's up? What's up, man? How are you? How's life treating you? Seven stars. Bombardment. Probably doing well. How about myself? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I just finished some online courses. So I figured I would reward myself by playing some video games. Handed in 2 papers and did an objective assessment test. Passed the objective assessment, waiting on grading for the papers. So I'm enjoying a nice cup of coffee before I have to go back to the real world tomorrow for work. Saw your debate with First Amendment. Hey, I'm glad you saw it. I'm glad you saw it. I hope you liked it. I want to set up some more stuff like that with people. Find some people I disagree with online, because it seems like that's the stuff that people like to see. People really like to see the engagement with other people. And he seemed fine. Some people told me he was bad faith, but he seemed fine when I spoke to him. Seemed like a nice enough guy. So I plan on exhausting this bombardment out, probably. Special path? Special path. I don't have to think as much on a special path. But yeah, I thought that discussion went well. Sometimes he's good faith, sometimes he's bad faith. Not gonna. Yeah, you know, that could also be depending on how someone speaks to you. Like for me, if you speak to me nicely, I'm not gonna care. I'm not gonna care if you're being bad faith or good faith or not. I'll speak to you at this tone. So I guess it just depends on the context of the conversation and how the approach is. To me, it seemed nice. He has a nice little list of things that you can discuss, and that was the number one topic. My wife asked me, "Well, what does this matter? Why did you pick that topic?" I was like, "It was the first one I saw." It's like it was number one, and I figured it was an easy one. I need more block cards. But yeah, I've seen his posts, and like, his posts are definitely kind of baity. His posts are like MAGA chud can't do the X thing, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. It's a little rage baity, but I get it. Honestly, I'm cautious of the trans topic because he looked into this stuff for years. I wouldn't be cautious. I wouldn't be cautious in the trans topic because there's a few things that are required for the trans debate to happen. And the first thing that's required for the trans debate to happen is... Excuse me. They have to set up the parameters in which they're arguing for. So, like, for example, when I started that debate with him, I asked him, actually, sorry, I didn't ask him. He defined, he believes it's the gender aspect, not the sex aspect. So, all of the stuff he's going to bring up about phenomenology, and all the stuff he's going to bring up about the experiences and lived experience and all these things, they all relate to a biological thing. They all relate to something that can be characterized, basically. And once you take that path, you're kind of admitting it's not social engineering. You're kind of admitting you can smuggle in that it's social engineering, but you're really not admitting that it's social engineering. You're basically saying there are biological things that make you trans. And then you can pin them on, well, what are the things that then... Sorry, my mic is peaking a little bit there. Then you could pin them on, what is the biological set of behaviors that makes somebody trans? And they can't answer that, because it has to be self-identification, because I can play with dolls. I can play with dolls as a man, as a boy, or I can play with trucks as a girl. And that wouldn't make me trans unless I told you I am trans. So I wouldn't be cautious about debates about transgenderism, because it's very kind of easy to parse once you understand where they're coming from. And in First Amender's case, it was I need to figure out what to do on my turn here. In First Amender's case, he was basically forfeiting that, so it became not really a debate anymore. It became, okay, well then, you forfeit the biological aspects of it, so then you have to give me better, qualifiers for it. Or, sorry, a better category for it. Because it's their, you have to realize, like, it's a positive claim. So they have to provide evidence for the positive claim. I like how you said in the video it's an unfalsifiable claim if somebody says they're trans. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then you use that. What is he stealing? He's stealing Omni Slice from me? I don't think I can get this back. Yeah, it would have to be. It would have to be because there's no set of there's no set of behaviors that make somebody trans. They have to say they're trans. So if somebody has to identify as the thing to make that thing true, then it's an unfalsifiable position. So you can the debate is basically over at that point. Because then they have to appeal to something that can't work. What's this game? Slay the Spire 2. It is a fantastic game based off of Slay the Spire 1, which, you know, that makes sense. It is a deck-building roguelike game where you go and you kill bosses and they get progressively harder and you got to get progressively better. And now I'm being offered cards from another class. And I think I want Exhaust, so I think I'm going to go Ironclad. Demon form, maybe. But yeah, once you realize that has to be the Inferno is interesting. Once you realize that that's required, here's my Exhaust card. Let's take that. Once you realize that has to be, we're gonna take Demon form because I don't have another angle right now. And maybe fight me. No. Once you realize that that's the only angle they have, that it has to be self-identification, the trans argument kind of falls apart. Because you're saying the thing that I need to identify the thing, only I can prove, or only that person can prove. And it's like, well, that's not how proving things works. Oh, I totally misclicked that. I meant to click Bombardment. Whoops. Cool. Yeah, it's a good game. If you've ever played the first game, it's a lot of fun. It's interesting. It's a difficult game, but there's patterns to beat it. I'm not very good at it yet. If I had exhausted this instead, I would be in a very good position. 18 plus 5 is 23. Does it play from the discard or from the exhaust? It plays from the exhaust, that's what I thought. But yeah, he seemed nice. I mean, I've seen his stuff. I don't know if I'll go on. He actually commented on that video and then erased his comment, so I guess he wasn't happy about his performance because he commented on my video and then took it back. I might talk to first on the value of marriage or gay marriage. That's a good topic. Does he have that as one of his things? Like, what's his claim? I'm guessing the claim is... I'm gonna take Bulwark here. I need more block. I'm guessing the claim would be gay marriage is just as valuable as straight marriage. I'm guessing that would be the... guessing that's his position. I might ask him, why should people get married now? Oh, you're saying if gay marriage is a institution, why get married at all? Because it should be a religious institution? Is that kind of what you mean? Like, what's the purpose outside of religion? Or what makes a marriage different than a relationship? Okay. What's okay, yeah. I gotta burn bombardment out. I keep forgetting about that. Yeah, I mean, the argument generally goes, at least from what I've heard, the argument, it usually devolves into, well, they're people. Well, gay people are people as well, so therefore they should be able to get married. I think generally, I consider myself religious, so under my worldview, marriage is sacred. It is a sacrament that you take, and it's a religious sacrament. It's not a state sacrament. But I don't think these people would accept that position. I just generally don't believe they would. I don't see them having a reason to accept that position. So I guess, I don't know. I guess the most compelling argument is, well, why even have it be that? It could be named something else to appease both parties. Like, why not have it just be civil union? That would appease both parties. The only argument you could make against that is, well, then gay people would feel bad. And it's like, okay, well, if you're trying to give the state side argument for it that you should have state marriage, then them feeling bad about the name of it doesn't really come into play. That would just be an emotional appeal. But it's like it's weird. It's weird. That's one I should feel more strongly about, but I guess I don't. 23. I can't do 23. I can only do 9. I can do 9 here. Cause like yes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I should have a stronger opinion about that. $100 gold. Gambling chip. I mean, I would ask him about gay marriage, but you could still do the same thing as gay married couples, just not get married. What's the issue with it? The issue would be, I think, the issue would be the thing that I stated, which is, well, straight people get this thing that's called marriage, so you're excluding gay people by not allowing them to get married. With a little sass. There would have to be a little sass because these people are sassy. They would make the emotional appeal argument. They would say, well, you know, these people, they feel this way about it, so therefore we should appease them. And it's like, it's kind of similar to the trans argument, but I don't know. I really don't know. Because it's like, it's always gonna come down to the emotional appeal. It's always gonna come down to it. It's always gonna be, well, married people get this, or straight people get this, so gay people should get this. And you could, like you said, you could have an institution that covers that covers marriage the same exact way as like a civil partnership or whatever term you want to use to describe it. You could still have that. But then the argument will be, well, we want it to be called marriage. We're being discriminated against if it's not called marriage. And then at that point, it's like, okay, well, okay, you're just complaining over terms. I think the better angle to take would be going over data about the long-term consequences in children of gay couples and married couples, because The only real defense we have against gay marriage, besides the religious sacrament part, which they won't agree with, they'll ignore that, would be outcomes. They're entirely outcomes. Most of these people are entirely outcome driven. So one thing you could do is you could probably do some research on whether or not gay children perform better than straight children in the long run, whether they do drugs, get addicted to drugs, do crime, do all these other things, have successful relationships. Yeah, but then it also goes on other weird examples like why can't two twin sisters get married, or why can't multiple people get married? I'm sorry, my microphone's peaking again. That's another angle to take where you can say, well, if two men can get married and two women can get married, then why can't 3 women get married or 25 women get married? I think it's fine. I just don't know how effective it is because making the guidelines around men and women, specifically around men and women, and then expanding the guidelines. What else could you expand the guidelines to? I don't know how, like, if you're trying to actually convert him, which I don't believe you are. I think the main point is convincing the audience. But if you were actually trying to convert, I don't think that's an effective strategy, because you're just pointing to the end rationale of the thing, which they don't really care about. But what if he says yes to that, though? These people don't care about degeneracy, right? So, like, think about it through their worldview. They wouldn't care. Why would they care? Why would that bother them? If the people are happy, you'd have to point to the thing that I was talking about before. You'd have to point to the consequences of the thing, because that's the paradigm that they live in. They don't care if 10 people get married. You think First Amendment cares if 10 people get married? I don't think I can convert no First Amendment. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So you're doing it for the audience. You're. So then I guess it's a fine angle to take. You could point out the absurdity of the position. Because yeah, if you're, because I agree. Debate is not for the debater. Debate is not to convince the other person that you're right. Debate is to show them, or to show the audience, that you have a better way of thinking about something. So then, yeah, I guess you could take that angle. You could say, well, if we open up the marriage, the sacred institution of a marriage, into these other categories, where does it stop? You could do that. He's not going to care, but you have to pressure him, and then you'd have to be like, well, then 10 people can get married. We can have a 10-person marriage with that adopts children. Do you think that's a healthy situation to adopt a child into? Yeah, I agree. That could be a good angle. It depends on how you play your cards after he responds. Upgrade starting hand. Yeah, that's fine. We'll drop 50 gold for that. Like I didn't think I could convert First Amender on the point either. I never interacted him beforehand, but like when I falsified his worldview, but I didn't expect him to be like, oh, thank God you came and told me. Like I didn't expect him to be like, oh man, I haven't thought about it this way. So it is for the audience. So I would run the data. I would run data in that argument. I would look up data that shows that children born to, but you know what? There's like 100 trees of possibility here, because then they could bring up data that just shows the opposite. They could say, well, my study from Gay University says that it's not true, and that all same-sex marriages are better than straight marriages. And you don't want to end up playing the data game with these people. You want to just play the logical endpoint. So I don't know. But yeah, I think you bring up a good point. I like the example of, well, what's the next step? I think you're right. I think that is a better way to handle it. because you're not trying to expose him. Well, you are trying to expose. You're not trying to expose him. You're trying to expose the idea, and it's a bad idea. What do I want to do here? Just remove. Just remove. I mean, when I debate someone, they don't convince me of their worldview, but then they show how I can improve my argument. Yeah. Well, it depends on if you're arguing with somebody who cares. People, like, if you're arguing, like me and you, if we were having a discussion right now, oh, actually, this is an example. We weren't really even debating the thing. You swayed my position on the angle to take. You swayed my position because you brought up the valid point that you're not going to convince First Amender. So yes, this is for the audience. The debate's for the audience. So then just pointing out the absurdity of the position is a good angle. When you're debating someone who has to be on edge, they're not gonna just give that up. They're not gonna give that position up. So yeah, when you're don't get rid of demon form again, get rid of bombardment. So yeah, I mean you're right. It's how you want to approach it and how he handles the counter evidence is going to be what determines. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just rambling. I don't know if that helps. What do we want? We just want or that. Wrong order. It's okay. I would say go for that position that you went for if you wanted to do that. Because like here, what's a good way to show this? What's a good way to figure that out? Let me see if I can pull something up. Hi, sweetheart. I'm streaming. Let me figure out if I can do this in a way that makes sense. So like, bring up good old paint here. So like, if your argument was, it's not gonna work. I'm not good. That's, hold on. Hold on. Sorry about that. So, let's see here. What's this? So if I do, the argument is No gays. How come my camera is like that? I don't know. What's it like? No gay marriage. So this is the argument. That's too big. Then you have the oh, what is my camera like? It like freezes sometimes. It's probably because I'm running 18 different things. So you have the first line, which would be equal rights. No, everything's fine. Then the second would be not religious. There's two arguments to go. There's two arguments to go against here. And if they go with this, you can say, well, marriage is religious, and the state co-opted it, which is fine, but that's kind of like the end of it. I don't know. I'm trying to work this out. How someone would. Well, then you could then, for the equal rights, you could then go to your limitations. This is a really great slide. Isn't it wonderful? You can go to limitations, which then they'll probably go to mm. Mm. The only thing I can think of is it's like they go to why do you care? I mean, for the non-religious one, I would ask them what's the purpose of marriage and what makes it different from a regular relationship. Yes. I think the equal rights one is harder, not gonna lie. Yeah, I think so too. I agree. I mean, you could always do rights are subjective because they're enforced. You could always that's one that exists. Like if it was equal rights, then you'd have as a response to that who enforces rights. I can't move that now, can I? Then it would be It would be men enforce rights, making them subjective. And then this becomes a and then this becomes, well, this just becomes whoever decides on rights gets the final say. Force doctrine. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like I did this I just did an abortion video, and I did this with the abortion video because this is a true line of reasoning. And then you could say, okay, well then from that you could say if Christians enforce their values on society, then you can't argue it's wrong because the reverse is true. It wrong. You can't argue it wrong. So like, yeah, I think there's a couple of ways to like, I always view the rights argument through this lens for anything really. Because at the bottom line, it's just going to be force that is that's the deciding factor, that's the say in who gets it done. My house, yeah. This is a beautiful. It's this. As you could tell, I'm a professional at MS Paint. Very professional. And then it goes to then Christians enforce the worldview, but I don't know. That's. I feel like there's a bunch of ways to do it. It's just maybe not. For some people, it's going to be effective. For some people, it's not. I've realized now that talking to random people, you're not going to convince people of your opinions or objectives overnight. Oh, do I have to start this fight over? I do. Oh well. So it's like, yeah. And I don't know, and a lot of these people also fight over force doctrine. They don't understand it, so it's like, I don't know, you're doing it for the audience. Because then you're going to sit there and argue about, well, there's some women that can, there's certain women that can beat up men, and it's like, okay, that's true. There are really strong, buff chicks that can beat the below average male up, that's true. It's by 3, I'm taking damage. So yeah, I don't know. It really depends on where the conversation goes. But you have to be prepared for those outlier cases to come through. Because like I prepared very shortly for debating First Amendment. I didn't really look into it that much. But the reason is because I had 2 trains of thought that I was going to follow to the end of it. And welcome back. I had two trains of thought that I was gonna follow to the end of my thought process, which is what I didn't do. I didn't do much prep work. I had the descriptive path and the prescriptive path, and then I had physical versus gender, or sex versus gender. And I just followed them. I just followed that all the way down. I just followed the route all the way to the bottom. But yeah, you can take that. You can take that argument. You just got to be prepared for like the data battle. I would avoid the data battle because a lot of the times that ends up getting in the weeds. Even if you're right about the data, a lot of the time you get in the weeds with these people because they want to argue. They want to argue some specific New York Times article that enforces their worldview. And it's like, okay, great. I'm glad you think that. 28, 13 by 3. 13 by 3 is 39. 39, I don't get to 30. It. 32. 39. I get to 39. Oh, does exhausting this... Oh, what the hell? What? Exhausting the sword makes another sword? The hell? Yeah, I don't like the data battles. Yeah, I tend to I tend to avoid the data battles unless it's like... Unless you're arguing with someone you know, basically. If you know they're sincere, it's not a problem at all. If you don't know if they're sincere, it becomes an issue of, well, my sources say this and my sources say that, and it's like, okay, great. Basically becomes a pissing competition. 1927. What can I draw into? I can't draw into... block. Just block, right? Yeah, like I wouldn't... Unless it's something that specifically requires data. Like crime stats. Like if you're discussing crime stats with people. But even then, it's like, it's almost worthless to discuss it with them unless, again, you're just trying to convince an audience. Because like a lot of arguments can be solved logically before data even comes into play. Like the trans issue. I didn't need to discuss phenomenology or experiences or biological indicators because it didn't matter. It requires you to tell me you're the thing. Or something like which is more violent, the left or the right. Yes, because... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly correct. Because New York Times and Washington Post are gonna put everything into one camp, and they're gonna say, well, everything that is anti-government is right-wing, and everything that's pro-government is left-wing, and it's like, that's not how it works. Yeah, you're exactly right. And then I'll pull up my study from the Washington Examiner that says the opposite, and then I win the debate. Nah. How am I gonna kill this guy? I really need to burn bombardment as soon as possible. And I don't get to burn in bombardment here. Your game on stream is lagging on my end. I think I did just hit a little oh yeah. Let me look at it for a second. Maybe I'm just doing too much here. Let me minimize that. Actually, let me just close that. Maybe I'm doing too much on my end. That might be better there. I'm also not plugged in. I'm doing this off Wi-Fi, so it could 100% just be that I'm being ignorant. I don't think we kill these guys. Now it says my stream quality is excellent. Hold up, it looks a bit better. Yeah, I just had to close some other stuff. Thank you for letting me know. But yeah, I avoid the data arguments. Unless it's a topic that requires it. It's just a pissing contest. Man, that guy needed to die this turn. I don't think I get there without taking a hit. Six, 12, 15. Oh, I messed that up. 2 swords again. Wow, we actually do get there. This is a hard battle. But yeah, feel free to let me know if you end up doing that. I'd love to watch. I really don't know where that conversation would go, because a lot of the times I feel like it's just, well, they deserve to be able to do that. And it's like, okay. I take 27 now to get demon form out. Right, I will. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think I lose if I don't do this. It basically reduces to my preference. Most things do. But the good news is, to that is people are getting smarter. People are getting smarter when it pertains to that argument. And they're starting to be able to see through that a lot of the time. So when you get somebody to say, hey, this thing is my preference, you can dismiss it. And people are starting to understand that more as a concept, to say, okay, well, if you're just going off of your preference and I'm just going off of my preference, then you can't prove your position. You then have to, you have to dig deeper on your own end to figure out how to justify that position through another lens. But you don't have to do that in the debate. There's no reason to do that in the debate. I mean, you could. You could just to do a lap. Need to block for 12. I think people have gotten more. Oh yeah, see, I lose here anyway. Okay. I'm actually gonna hop off, but I definitely appreciate you hanging out and talking. Let me know. Comment on one of the videos or something if you plan on going live there, and I'll jump in and take a look. You give him credit for his feminism debate. He did put time into that. I didn't watch any of his stuff afterwards. Alright, nice stream. I'll see you next. Alright, thanks, bro. Have a good night. And yeah, let me know. I'll definitely tune in and watch it.